leader for public health. The recording's just started, so I'll say it again. I'm Bhavna Solanki. I'm the award leader, leading on the BSc Honours Public Health degree programme. Who wants to go next?
Will I go next? Yeah.
Just wanted to, sorry to break you up, just wanted to make everyone aware that this this event is being recorded, so if you feel uncomfortable, it's okay to turn off your cameras. Just sorry for interrupting.
All right.
Thanks, Anissa. Yeah, so I'm Sally Price. I'm the award leader for health studies and health studies top up. I'll let Prabjot introduce herself.
Hello everyone, afternoon. I'm Prabjot Sahota and I am Head of Health Studies. And then I shall move on to my colleague Mark.
Mark, unmute yourself.
I was trying. Yeah, hi, I'm Mark Chrysanthi. I'm one of the lecturers in the public health department, and I teach on some of the modules like sociology of health and illness and research methods and across the board. So that's me.
Mark.
Would students would any student like to unmute and say who they are, or anything like any of the background, share any background? Or any questions that you have, then we can see if we can answer those during the presentation.
Simran does have a hand up. Simran?
Hi, Simran.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
So my name is Simran Kaur, and I have applied to study public health undergraduation. Yeah, I'm really excited to study. And I just finished my college last week. And
Where was this, Simran?
I'm from Leicester.
Okay, great. Great to know you, Simran. And I hope that we can meet, and I look forward to teaching you on public health.
Thank you.
Oh, I can see that Angela's not shy. She shared a camera.
Would you like me to speak?
Yes, go for it.
Come on.
Hello again, everyone. Hi. So I'm Angela Terrelong, and I've just finished my access course to health studies, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. And I have to say that I'm actually missing assignments.
Oh,
Yeah. And, I never ever thought I would say that, but I am. So I'm so excited to actually hopefully start the course, because we're waiting for our results from college. But yeah, I'm very excited to start.
And which course are you looking to start?
Public health.
Oh, public health. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you.
Angela, welcome. Daniela?
I mean, I'm not sure Angela will be saying she'll be missing assignments by the time she gets through our course, but let's hope so. We can always give you more assignments.
Yeah, there's Alison who's put her hand up. Alison?
Hi, my name's Lacey. I'm here with my mum, Alison, and I am a sixth form student, and I look forward to taking the course in September.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
And which
Which course?
I'd like to take health studies in September, and I'm from Wollaston sixth form, so I take biology, psychology and English literature with an EPQ in Alzheimer's.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you've applied, and are you starting in September?
If I get the grades, then yes, I look forward to starting in September.
Brilliant. We look forward to seeing you and on campus.
Thank you.
Well.
I think Odette's hand up.
Yes, I'm Odette. Presently, I work for the local authority in health and social care. I'm interested in doing the foundation course. I have had a conditional offer. However, I need English and I do not have English. So I'm hoping to see if, I did speak to the university and they said that they would send me a test.
Yeah.
So based on the tests, then I will know where I'm at.
Yes.
But I'm really excited and I'm hoping I get the grades and look forward to be on the course, really.
Brilliant. And
We
again,
look forward to having you here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, Sally, you were saying.
Sorry, Bhavna. I was just asking which route, if she's looking to study health studies or public health.
I'm actually looking to study health studies. I have done a
Right,
foundation.
brilliant.
I have done a foundation course at Open University in health and social care. So I'm actually looking to go down that route. And currently I have level 2 in health and social care. I've done level 3, but not completed. So I would just like to carry on down that route, really.
That's great. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yep. I think it's Rochelle. Is it Rochelle?
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Rochelle and I currently just finished sixth form and I'm looking forward to studying health studies in university.
Brilliant. Great. So you'll be starting in September?
Yes, I'll be starting in September.
Brilliant. Look forward to meeting you.
Me too.
Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question or just introduce themselves? Otherwise, we could start the presentation.
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
I made my application in 2019, but because I was given conditional offer.
Yeah.
So when through UCAS, but I didn't know what to do. Then they said until I get my English level 2. So by the time I got my English level 2, I didn't confirm it on time through UCAS. So my application was cancelled then. So now I'm returning back and then I've made my application again, but I didn't hear anything. So that is why I was so eager to join this meeting.
Which course, Omoyemi?
Public health.
Okay, yeah. So have you got confirmation now, or is it conditional?
I've not gotten any confirmation, so I'm so curious about this.
Yeah.
So I can apply for my student loan and everything. So I'm so worried.
Yeah, yeah.
But
so are you... Sorry, carry on.
The uni got my English level 2 result already since 2019. So
I think you might need to contact admin and ask them if your application from 2019 is still valid. If it's not, then you might need to reapply or just register again.
Yeah, I've reapplied since February.
Okay. Is that why you've got this invitation?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. I think it might be worthwhile to stay on and ask the staff after 6 o'clock just to double check that your application has been accepted and what's the condition or state of play regarding a place for you.
Okay.
Okay, brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything, Prabjot, you want to add to that?
No, not at this point. If it is obviously subject specific, again, it's just to get in touch with our staff after 6 o'clock. And if you cannot get through at 6, it may be useful to contact your previous, whoever you're in contact previously, just to follow up on that at the university.
Yeah, it's the admissions team that you'll need to speak to. So if you contact the admissions team, then you'll get all the necessary information about your application. 'Cause what we don't want to do is for you to miss out on this year again, and for you to be late in applying for your UCAS as well. So you need to be proactive and actually, find out where your application is at and whether they've got everything so that then, you know, you start applying for your UCAS. Yeah? Does that help, Omoyemi?
Yeah, I made my application through UCAS, and I always log in to track my application.
Right.
Sometimes if I didn't see anything from UCAS, I also call up the admission department in the university. But still, they told me that my admission application, there is no decision on it yet, that they still go
Right.
till July. But because of my
yeah.
student loan and everything, so that's why I've been so worried.
Yeah. So today the admissions team are actually available, and you can ask the question and chase it up again. So it's in the public chat, you know, where if you go into the public chat, it actually shows you the link that you need to click on to be able to go be directed to the admissions team.
So can I do that now, please?
They're only open from 6 p.m.
Yeah,
okay.
That'll be available 6 to 7. I've just put it in the chat. As soon as the event finishes, there's the link which you can click on. That'll direct you there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Most
welcome. Omoyemi, so you know when you applied in 2019,
yes.
Were you offered a conditional offer or was it an unconditional offer?
Initially, it was conditional,
okay.
And then what they demanded for was my English level 2.
Okay,
so when I got,
yeah, so when you speak to the admissions team, tell them that you've already got your level 2 in English now. So
yeah, they've received it. I've uploaded it. They've received it.
Okay, great. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for that. Is there anybody else? Is there anyone else who'd like to unmute and introduce themselves, or we can go into the presentation? No, over to you, Prabjot.
Thank you, Bhavna. Lisa, are you okay to share the PowerPoint?
Okay. Can you all see the slides?
Yes, brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Public Health and Health Studies Subject ACES session. My name is Prabjot Sahota and I am Head of Health Studies. Sally?
Yeah, I'm Sally Price and I'm the Award Leader for Health Studies.
And I'm Bhavna Solanki, I'm Award Leader for Public Health.
Hey, I'm Mark Chrysanthu. I'm one of the lecturers on the Public Health degree. I also teach on some of the health studies modules as well.
Okay, I think this is me. So I will actually tell you a little bit more about why you should study public health. Now, I know that some of you have signed up to study health studies, and we will be giving you information about health studies as well. But for those of you who are interested in public health, or you haven't made your mind up yet, or you might want to, you know, consider public health, even if you're thinking of another degree, that's okay. It's still time. There's still time for you to change your mind. So the formal definition from the World Health Organization, or the organizations that actually regulate public health, is the science and art of preventing disease. So here the key word is preventing disease, and then prolonging life for people who have got a disease, and promoting health through organized efforts of society. So public health actually works at a population level, and it works at a societal level. So the difference between When we say, you know, you're studying health, the difference is that you're actually studying health at a population level, not health as at an individual level. So to give you an example, a nurse would work in a ward and they would be treating individuals who have got something wrong with them, some kind of illness. Whereas what in public health, what we're doing is we're actually looking at disease or prevention of ill health by considering communities and, you know, at a societal level, at a population level. And what we can do is, if you were to sign up in the public health course, you'd develop skills and knowledge that would positively impact on biggest issues affecting individuals, community, society. This is from local trends to global pandemics. Now, here, obviously, we can't not mention COVID-19. COVID-19, you'll have heard on the news that the most current of the public health issue, you know, and the global pandemic, which has kind of hit us. And this is how you understand that public health is actually affecting populations and groups of people. And what we would do is we draw on the wide range of disciplines. So epidemiology, it's a hard word, and it's also does scare people because it involves looking at statistics and looking at trends. But there's specific lectures which actually help you to understand data. And once you know how to look at data, then you'd be able to identify local trends and see what the patterns of disease are. And from these patterns, what we can do is then look at sociological impact on communities, the psychology and economics, which then affects people's health. So at a population level, what we're working with is looking at a wide range of disciplines which help us to understand how we can prevent disease, prolong life, improve health as well. And so a degree in public health, it's recognized in the professional field and the professional principles. In fact, our course at the moment is the only course that actually it has been matched, and it aligns itself with the UK Public Health Register, and the RSPH means Royal Society of Public Health, and the Faculty of Public Health. So we've actually got you know, the course aligned professionally to professionally recognized bodies. And then the career progression you can look for is, once you've completed your degree, you can apply to do the Masters in Public Health, very, very well known as MPH. And a lot of public health and related jobs ask for kind of like a public health degree or an MPH. And the careers that you would choose would be either to become a researcher in public health or even a public health practitioner. You can, when you become a public health practitioner, you can actually work in the public sector, so that you can work in the local authority, you can work in the NHS, you can work in the third sector as well, universities, even international institutions. So a couple of our students have actually secured jobs with World Health Organization. In fact, a student 2 years ago took up a job with World Health Organization where she was based in Egypt. And you know, she and her little one and her husband actually moved to Egypt because she enjoyed it. She was on a placement, an Erasmus placement, and she felt that the skills were really good, and you know, that she was picking up, and it was an opportunity not to be missed. So previous students, you know, there was a student from India who actually went on to take up a very high post in India, looking at the tuberculosis campaign and working in regions of India to try and develop a campaign and a strategy, you know, to eradicate TB. So if you are looking at whether it's a local level or national level or even an international level, then the degree will actually open up opportunities for you. And incidentally, we do teach global public health as well at level 6, so final year of your degree, you will be looking at that. So as well as acquiring technical skills in a wide range of related disciplines, you would be expected to work with other students. You know, your communication skills, your research skills will be enhanced. Well, and you know, a lot of our lecturers are very, very experienced public health practitioners in their own field, and they have then developed their expertise within the world of academia. So we've got a very established team that are very, very committed to developing students. And I've been working at the university for several years, and I will say that I have seen students, I've taught students in their first year and then seen them develop. And by the third year, they are confident individuals. They are individuals, who can apply for jobs, and get jobs, and even have the confidence to set up their own businesses. A couple of our students have set up their own businesses looking at resources and looking at coaching. So the potential is huge. If we go on to the next slide. This is just to give you an idea, really, of the kind of modules we teach. So, in the first year, we start with developing your historical background knowledge about the principles of public health. We help you understand what we mean by communications, and communication is vital if you're working at a population level. Understanding psychology, even volunteering and how important it is. And part of this course actually helps you to get your bronze and silver and even gold awards if you want. So right from the first year, you've actually got your awards, which is already enhancing your CV. Sociology of public health, Mark teaches that, and we help you to understand public health information as well. And the second year, we enhance your communication skills. You develop your sort of like effective person-centered skills, understand mental health, understand research, and approaches to public health. And then in the third year, we build on. So it's almost like, block building. So we kind of like develop your foundation, then build on the knowledge, and then expect you to apply your knowledge in the final year. And as I mentioned, we actually look at world health issues around public health. We also teach you about leadership in the healthcare practice and in public health. And this is also really important because we believe that this supports you in gaining employment. If you have got a really good understanding of how leaders work and you are a leader within your own field, then you stand a much better chance of securing employment. And again, environmental change and management and sustainable health is all part and parcel of public health. So those are kind of like a flavor of what kind of modules you would be studying and the subject areas that you would be studying. So next slide. Yeah, I did mention the career prospects for public health. Now, public health is one of those degrees that actually magically fits into many sort of sectors of employment. Because before I sort of talk to you about specific public health jobs, just to give you an example, the police, have got outreach workers who work for them. And outreach work, where you're working with families affected by domestic violence, or you're working with drug abusers, those sorts of jobs require an understanding of working at a population level, working, you know, with not just one family, but a lot of families. Similarly, schools have got link workers and outreach workers. So that's just an example of how public health actually reaches out and branches out into so many different areas. So the formal public health jobs could be a health improvement lead, or even a health protection practitioner, or it could be a research assistant looking at health research, or mental health promotion specialist, a lifestyle trainer, health inequalities worker. These are jobs that are employed through the local authority public health departments. You could even be a sexual health advisor or a health promoter advisor. Now, when you then dig a little bit deeper, you could become a community development officer in the third sector. So for example, age concern, if you stay on that side, yeah. So for example, age concern might have a job where you're applying to work with the elderly and developing activities for the elderly, and that could be a community development officer job. Or you could be working with children, smoking cessation. Universities employ public health people as lecturers, and you could be well-being advisors through the CAMS team. You know, the psychologists might want you to work with families who need a little bit of extra support and time. So those are just, you know, to list a few. There are so many career prospects within public health. And whether you've got a public health or health studies degree, all of these actually apply. And the modules that I was talking about earlier, they're also shared with the health studies degree. So there is joint teaching. So many of you, you know, whichever degree you're doing, whether you're doing public health or health studies, you know, you will still be in the same class, and you can make friends that way. I think that's the last of the public health slides. So is it over to Sally?
Yeah.
What's the next slide look like?
I can take over.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Did Prabjot, was this something?
Yeah, I'm happy to introduce Sally. Please feel free to add.
I will do.
No problem. So welcome. So just a bit of an overview with regards to why you would want to study health studies. I myself have also studied health studies. So just a bit of an overview. So over recent years, there's been a widespread recognition of the need to move beyond a medical model of care and treatment to one which places greater emphasis on the promotion of health and well-being. Now, through studying health studies, you will have the opportunity to explore various health conditions and how health is viewed on different levels. You'll also have the opportunity to explore a history of health, various treatments, and really focus on those roles that would be required for you to work in potentially some clinical placements. So obviously you may be aware of various roles within the health sector, but some of the roles here, which we will go into a bit more detail shortly, may include working within sexual health. You could be working in mental health. So just as an example, there are various roles in which you could go into. Now, new government initiatives and policies are giving this greater priority than ever before. Health studies is a vibrant multidisciplinary degree in which we'll explore a range of issues and debates relevant to health and well-being in contemporary society. So our BSc degree draws upon a range of disciplines, including sociology, social policy, psychology, to understand the key challenges to health and well-being in the 21st century. Throughout your studies, you will be considering key questions such as what factors influence health and well-being? How do social experiences impact upon health and well-being? Why do different social groups experience health and well-being differently? Alongside this, you will develop the practical skills that are necessary for work in this area. You will also explore various case studies, and you will have opportunities to undertake small-scale research projects. Now, there isn't a requirement for any work placements on the program, but it's really, really important and useful to think about, you know, what potential roles you would want to go into, and not just health studies experience. You may have worked in various roles where you've had to look after certain individuals, or you are working with the public. So there are many, many different skills and attributes that you do bring along to the course. Sally, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to really follow on from what you were saying in terms of, you know, we do encourage you to do some voluntary work if possible. We work very closely with the careers service. If you come on to study health studies or public health, you'll be introduced to Naresh Patel, who will help guide you in your career. But also we have something called Volunteer Central, where you can actually you know, be helped to go into some kind of volunteering position, which looks really good on your CV. You know, often students will get to the end of their 3-year degree and they've not really done anything, and then it's really hard to get into you know, into a job. But if you take these opportunities and work, you know, as a volunteer, perhaps through the summer, I mean, many students are already in work, so that's not, you know, a problem for them. But for students who aren't actually in work, you know, take advantage of the links that we have with different, you know, volunteering opportunities. I don't know if, do you want to move the slide on and I can talk about the actual health studies course? Yeah, so you'll see really from looking at the programme for public health that there is, as Bhavna said, you know, huge overlap. In your first year, you won't encounter public health students as a health studies student, but you will share some of the modules with social care and health studies students. So, you know, you get a broader view of health and how that fits in with health and social care and public health. So in your first year, you'll...
The volunteering, Sally, is it the volunteering module?
Yeah. So there is just that one module in semester 2 where the health studies and public health, social care and health studies, they all come together in one module. But it still feels quite, you know, separate, doesn't it, in the first year, where, you know, health studies students, you know, they look at different areas of health. So you'll see a lot of me in year 1. I teach, and it's always 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. So introduction to health and wellbeing. So with that module, you're looking at different ways of promoting health. So, you know, we really look at, you know, what is health? What do we mean by health? We introduce you to you know, public health and different public health policies, because, as I say, there's a big overlap really. On a Monday afternoon, this isn't set in stone, but this tends to be the format. But Monday afternoons, we look at foundations of holistic health. So you'll be able to explore alternative or complementary approaches to health, so more holistic health. Also, you'll look at human physiology. That's on a Tuesday morning. So you're exploring health from lots of different perspectives. In semester 2, now it might be worthwhile, we just, you know, for those of you who haven't experienced coming to university and see the format of it, it's made up of 2 semesters. So you'll start semester 1 in September, and that runs all the way through for 12 weeks up until Christmas. You'll then submit your semester 1 work in the beginning of January. At the end of January, you'll start semester 2. And that runs through till May. So if you pass everything, you've got quite a big chunk of the, you know, the summer to do some volunteering work, as I mentioned earlier, if you're not already in work. And then in semester 2, you'll have me again for health as a social and cultural issue. So, you know, we really do explore how culture impacts on health and how society as well, you know, has an impact on everyone's health. I'm not going to go through every module, but that really is, you know, in year 1, as I say, you'll see a lot of me. In year 2, not so much, but this is where you really integrate with public health and social care students. There's a lot more overlap there. I've recently been teaching on violent societies and violent lives, and that really is quite an interesting module to take. You'll look at you know, developing healthy communities, which is quite a big part of health studies, is, you know, the careers that are out there are around, you know, developing healthy communities. So that's a really good module for health study students. You'll look at mental health again, holistic approaches to healthcare. So that really follows on from your, you know, the foundations in your first year. You'll also, as Bhavna pointed out earlier, be looking at, you know, research methods, because in your final year, you will undertake a research project. I don't know if Mark wants to give a little bit of an overview of what you will do in your final semester, in your final year, but that in year 2, it gives you the methods for research, and then you will actually write your dissertation, which will be around a health project. So that's your proposal for a piece of research. Did you want to mention anything on that, Mark?
Yeah, sure, I can do. I mean, I was basically thinking, you know, from a student's point of view, you know, you might be kind of thinking, how am I actually taught? And over the last year, obviously, as a result of COVID, we've been pretty much exclusively, I would say, you know, online. So a lot of our materials obviously have been delivered via live streamed lectures. And then we've recorded the sessions, and all the materials are available on something we call a virtual learning environment. So we're kind of hoping by the time we get to September, I would say, you know, I was going to say touch wood, fingers crossed, but that's not actually kind of very evidence-based kind of approach. But we're hoping when we get to September, we will be able to get back to a more kind of face-to-face, where you're coming in for classes on campus, but there still probably will be a mixture of what we call a blended approach, where you're also engaging via online environments as well. So it's not just like you come into university and that's it for a week. You know, we have a 24/7 kind of virtual learning environment. So if you did miss a lecture, you can catch up, and there's lots of other activities online as well. So yeah, hopefully by the time you get to year 3, the module, I'm module leader for Research for Health project. We're hoping that is a module where you can actually, you know, really develop the idea for a research project, and hopefully that will be informed by something over the last, you know, previous 2 to 3 years, you know, subject areas that you found particularly interesting, and you might think, hey, you know, I'd like to know a bit more about those, and to develop your own kind of, you know, pioneering research into that particular area. So it's a good module for you to sort of feed, you know, what you've already learned into, and to actually, because obviously ultimately we're hoping that our graduates are people, you know, it's not just like, it's not a static knowledge base, that we're hoping our graduates will go on to maybe do research, or to, you know, develop kind of new methods of working in the future, because public health is hopefully a thriving, developing discipline.
Oh, thanks, Mark. You'll also see quite a lot of Mark at level 6. Because you teach predominantly on level 6, don't you, Mark? You know, with environmental management and also appraising health policy. So I don't know if you want to just briefly introduce those.
Yeah, I mean, environmental management is obviously a very important module. Increasingly, you know, the awareness of, you know, how, you know, what we are doing as a species, I should say, or, you know, the political and economic systems, you know, and how they kind of exploit the environment, creating a lot of health issues in terms of environmental depletion, pollution, climate change, you know. So it's obviously going to be a massive issue over the next 20 years, really, whether we can do something to slow down the environmental rate of destruction, and actually create what some people are calling a kind of green economy, or a new Green Deal, where our jobs that we do, and the work we do, and the way we live in communities is much more. So, you know, to me, it's a very crucial module, and students often find it, you know, kind of quite eye-opening in a way. It makes them think about their own impact on the environment, and and how they could change that impact. And the other module, health policy. Well, obviously, health policy is a very important area because it sets the framework in which governments and global organizations deal with health issues, and how they define them, and how they prioritize them, and how they resource them. So knowing something about policy and whether policies are effective or not, and I'm not going to bang the drum about COVID, but we can look around over the last year and say which countries have had the best policy response to COVID, who's had the lowest death rate, who's been able to manage it properly, and what are the factors that kind of differentiate different approaches to that particular issue. So understanding health policy and being able to evaluate it using evidence, but having an understanding of kind of politics and economics and ethical issues is a crucial part of being a practitioner, because the boundaries and parameters for your particular area. So again, that's another very topical module.
Thanks, Mark. That's great. I think really what we cover in health studies, we're looking at health from lots of different perspectives, from, as Mark just suggested, political aspect, environmentally, we're not looking at it from a biomedical model, we're looking at it from a psycho-social, economic, lots of different areas of health. I don't know if you want to move on to the next slide. I think that's talking about different careers. Yeah, that's great. And really, I'm not going to go through all of these because I think Bhavna covered quite a few. But, what I will say is that, many students that come on to health studies have been directed to health studies because they haven't got into nursing or midwifery or social care. And they're not really sure about what health studies is. Well, it's a very broad topic area, so you can really go into any area. It doesn't limit you at all. And that's the thing, if you become, or if you train as a nurse, essentially you'll become a nurse, or, if you train as a midwife, you'll become a midwife. But with health, because it's such a broad area, and you pick up so many different transferable skills, you really can work in any area. It's really down to you where your passion lies and what you're interested in. So and this is where, kind of working with our careers service, with Naresh, you can really try to work out what it is you really enjoy. And as I say, taking up opportunities where you can volunteer. And often with volunteering, it's not that you're not paid, they will cover your costs in many areas. But don't think of it that it's unpaid work. You're building your CV. So, many students will take these opportunities and work on a voluntary basis, but then they've got a foot in the door, and and then that could progress them into a career in many different areas, as you can see from the slides. You could go into a charity organisation perhaps, or there's nothing stopping you from working within the NHS if you so wish, but don't think that health is just the NHS. It's not. There's so much more going on out there in the community. I mean, by trade, I'm a reflexologist, so that's predominantly done in a private arena. So although it is available in some NHS settings, but there's such so many different opportunities within health. So as I say, it doesn't limit your career by taking health or health studies as a course. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say on that. Shall I pass back to Prabjot?
Thank you, Sally. Yeah, and I think if I can add to that, I mean, going back to when I did introduce myself, I did health studies myself, and I think one thing I was really fortunate because I had so many options, and it was because I had all of those options and I was aware of those options. It was just really useful to know that through studying health studies, there was so much I could go into, and not, you know, as Sally said, it's not just about the NHS. You could work in many different fields because, as you are aware, health is now, you know, at the forefront. So it's really, really important to remember that, you know, if you are doing the degree, it isn't a case of, yes, you know, this is the route you will have to go down, because there are many, many options for you. And I think it's always useful to actually engage with our careers team to be aware of what's going on currently, and obviously to be aware of any volunteering opportunities that you could potentially go into. So if I could go back to the next slide. So I just wanted to give you just a quick taster of some of the topics that we do and that you will be studying on our programme. So this would be across public health and health studies. If we could go on to the next one, Anissa. Thank you. So promoting health via social media. As you're aware, social media is everywhere and you can't escape it. It has enhanced communication between individuals and organisations and has the potential to get messages in front of lots of people very, very quickly. During your studies in public health and health studies, you will explore the interesting and innovative ways psychology and marketing techniques are used by health workers to help spread healthy messages. In this activity, so we're going to have a bit of a discussion. You will have the opportunity to draw upon your current knowledge of health and well-being and consider how you can design a social media campaign. So we will think about ideas and the ways in which health promotion, or discuss the health promotion you are currently aware of, and you will appreciate the challenges that you may experience in delivering it and explore how you will find out how effective it is. So if we could go to the next slide, just a couple of questions. So you can pop your hand up, or if you just want to unmute yourself or make a comment in the chat box. So what does the term social media mean to you? What is social media? And what are the most common forms? So
Media that's communicated on a electronic platform. And I would say it's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and WhatsApp.
yeah, thank you. So we have a comment. So social media is where news is being spread, yeah. Any other examples, Simran? Adele, you've got your hands up.
I think social media is a platform where you're able to share and connect with different people, and it can be used for businesses and as well as like campaigning and doing some activism stuff as well. And I think most common forms would be like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, yeah, these kind of social media platforms.
Yeah, brilliant. Yep, so we've got some comments in the chat box as well. So this could be good and bad. A platform where messages can be delivered and connections can be developed as well. So you've made a comment on it being good and bad. Do you want to expand on that? Does anyone want to make a comment?
Yeah, I don't mind. It could be good and bad in a way that it's beneficial for them, telling them on things that they could actually learn on how to improve their lifestyle tips, their mental health and ways like that. But it could also be bad because there's some people that edit their pictures, which makes them low self-esteem, which could also affect their mental health. So it could either improve it or decrease it in a way. So it's not always a good way or a bad. It's 50-50 depending on the way that they approach it and the way that they decide to use the social media.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone?
I think we lost you a little bit there, Prabjot. I'm not sure.
Yep, so some really, really good points made. And I think it's really important, again, to remember how social media is used. And sorry.
No, I didn't say anything. Oh, have we lost Prabjot? I think she's frozen.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, it is quite cold. Yeah.
It is quite cold.
it looks like
But
we.
I'm still waiting for spring to start. Yeah.
I know. My feet are freezing. It's meant to be May and my heating keeps coming on. Yeah, I think Prabjot is frozen in time there. Yeah, I think, you've all made a really good point about social media being, good and bad.
But I do think, yeah, sorry, I do think, what we do on both the courses, public health and health studies, is try to cultivate a critical perspective on the world around us, in terms of, is the world actually organized in a way to promote health, or is it based around, kind of making money and consumption and almost trying to make people dissatisfied with their lives, so they then want to buy things or change themselves. So social media obviously has a potential for positive, connecting people. We always used to believe the internet, when it was kind of invented, would be an amazing thing for promoting knowledge and world peace and stuff, but it tends to get colonized by a lot of kind of more irrational voices, and controlled quite often by giant corporations who are bombarding us with adverts and images and trying to influence us. So what we're trying to do on the course is not to kind of put people off using technology, but it's to make us a bit more socially and kind of environmentally aware of what are the messages that are being sent out to us that many young people probably don't question very deeply. We're hoping that we do cultivate that sense of being a bit more critical and a bit more reflective,
and more evidence-based. We can, all of us can put something on Facebook, but where does that come from? What's the evidence around that? So that's what we hope to influence you on, to make sure that you do look at every aspect. Have we got Prabjot back or not?
I am back. I'm so sorry. I'm not too sure what happened there. I'd just been removed from the room.
Oh, no, you were just frozen. We thought it was because of the temperature.
No, I was removed from the room. I'm so sorry. I'm not too sure what happened there. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. So websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. So thank you, Mark, and thank you, Sally, for covering me while I disappeared from the room. Anissa, are we okay to go to the next slide? Sally, I believe.
Yeah, do you want to talk through this slide, Prabjot?
So we just went through some data. So looking at social media usage. So if you can see, so if we look at 2008, all the way through to 2019, and the increase in social media usage, why do you think this has increased? What factors do you think have contributed to an increase in social media?
Do you think convenience?
Convenience?
And publicity.
Yeah. In what way? Do you want to expand on that a little?
Beneficial to them.
Yeah.
And it's a platform where we didn't all have access to the internet. So government saw it as beneficial for us to have that access as well. They could get their messages across to us in a cheaper way. And things that are trendy, such as the internet, people like new things. And especially young people like new things. And it's another way to communicate across the world again. So yeah, it was a cheaper way.
Yeah, I think there was a good point there from, I'm not sure whether it's Lacey or Alison, whether it's Lacey's mum or it's Alison or Lacey, but it's like the technology, the dispersal of technology and the convenience of technology. So many people now, apart from my wife doesn't have a smartphone or a mobile phone, so she just kind of uses me as, if she ever wants to find out something, she uses me as a digital servant or whatever. But it's the widespread availability. So pretty much everybody has access to a handheld device of one kind, and that has obviously encouraged the proliferation of people accessing social media, on the move, even when they're driving, so that again, that's a kind of health risk of, the addictive quality of it.
Yeah, I think is it Chloe Colley, who has written in the public chat that anyone, child or adult, can use social media, which is very true, and it could be one of the negative factors in terms of exploitation. But I just wanted to flag up this slide as something, as a taster. This is kind of like a taster of what you would be learning in your lectures. So you might actually, we might put up a graph like this, a bar chart like this, about another topic. And then, you could actually be looking at what the bar chart is saying to you and the story that it depicts. And so what you're then doing is actually analyzing trends. And I know this is, United States population data, but there might be some similar data for the UK as well. And so we encourage you, to look at global and national perspectives.
Sorry, Bhavna, I was just going to say it would be interesting to see the 2020 and 2021, particularly during COVID, because obviously, we've all been locked up in our houses, what it look like, are more people using social media as a result of,
Oh, absolutely. I think,
using, TikTok and
all sorts of things. Yeah.
To add to that, and looking at the comparisons as to why, and I think that's going to be really important.
Yeah.
I think you're
and
right.
yes, you're right, Coley, that 2020 would probably be higher than other years, because that was the main means of communication, really, and keeping in touch. So in a way, it's actually proved positive. And whatever's evolving, there's a message and a meaning to it, isn't there? That's a philosophical view, but it's nice to understand it in that way.
Thank you. If we could move on to.
Well, it was interesting. I mean, I was interested because it was a year ago, I think, that George Floyd was kind of, I'm going to say, well, I think was murdered by a US police officer. And, in a sense, you could be argued that without somebody filming that on a handheld mobile phone device, nobody in the rest globally would have any awareness of it. That kind of incident probably happened pretty routinely over 100 years ago in certain states in America, and it was all, hushed up, or nobody was aware of it. So certainly we cannot deny the global reach of social media as a tool for good or for, spreading misinformation and, creating hatred between people by spreading false rumors about, other groups of people. So it is the world that we live in now, and we have to deal with that.
I mean, even closer to home, Mark is very spot on, because during COVID, who I would never have imagined to watch a funeral online, a funeral on Zoom, and I've done that, and it's a weird feeling, to actually watch it from a funeral from sitting on your sofa, and that's what technology's brought to us, the reality of life. So yeah, very true. Anyway, over to you, Prabjot.
Thank you, Bhavna. So looking at the previous slide, let's think about the effects of social media. How can this affect our health and well-being? Please feel free to use the chat box or unmute. So how might social media affect health and well-being?
Oh, depression, yes.
Could it affect them physically, emotionally, intellectually, and also socially?
I mean, I'll give an example. My son broke his phone and didn't have it for a whole weekend, you know, while it was being fixed. And he actually turned around and said, you know what, I'm better without it. You know, I feel better without it, you know, because you can become a slave to it, can't you? Having to check it. Whereas if it's not there, you just, it's almost very free, very liberating, isn't it? When you don't have to check it because you haven't got it.
Well, I'll give you a negative example. You know, last night, my son, who's coming up to 11, but he'd run out of batteries for his Xbox game. You know, those things you hold. I mean, it's not my cup of tea particularly, but rather than just kind of do something else, he kind of went upstairs to his bedroom as though like his life had ended, you know. Like there was nothing else to do without his Xbox and the batteries, you know. And I was just like, what, you know? This, when I, you know, and you go back into that old, you know, when I was a kid, you know, we read books, we drew, we played outside, but it's become such an all enveloping kind of way of living for many young children. I do kind of half worry about the, you know, if he does become a billionaire from becoming a YouTuber, I might kind of, you know, regret saying this, you know, but I am a little bit worried about the addictive qualities of it. And I think the companies are well aware that it's addictive and actually do try to get people almost hooked. You know, it's almost like, if you don't tidy, will you tidy your room? How many Robux points are you going to give me for that? You know, I mean, it's your room, you tidy, I shouldn't have to pay you anything, you know. Or, you know, if you want to handle the carrying the shopping, how many Robux points can I have for that? You know, it's like
my 12-year-old, just following on really from what you were saying about the Xbox, I was quite concerned about Fortnite at the time. I mean, my son doesn't play it anymore, but at the time, you know, I thought, gosh, you know, it's what is it this instilling in him, you know, that he wants to kill everyone, you know. And then I actually listened to him playing with his friends, and I realized actually there's a lot of you know, team building, you know, communication skills. You know, they were very supportive of each other, and, you know, especially during lockdown when, you know, they have been, you know, locked up, having that, you know, dialogue and that support system in place actually was quite beneficial. So, you know, it works both ways, doesn't it? You know.
Well, yeah, somebody's put two examples there, one from Rochelle, I think, saying that, you know, kind of copycat behaviors, things you may not even been aware of. You know, you read about children being encouraged to commit suicide, or these kind of pro-ana websites that encourage children to become anorexic as though it's a good thing. You know, that's the kind of downside. But somebody else said it could be a source or companion to someone who's isolated. You know, it kind of replaces the television in the corner with, you know, this kind of great web of communication that people, you know, like Bhavna said, it's not just kind of negative things like funerals. It can also be talking to, you know, obviously elderly or older people during the pandemic have not had a lot of visitors, or people in retirement care homes have not had visitors. They can still, you know, see their families and relatives.
Yeah, you can watch weddings. I'm watching one on Sunday. So it's a live feed to a wedding where there's restrictions, you know, on numbers. So we're watching a wedding on Sunday and having food delivered as well. So it's nice, yeah. So, but yeah, I agree with you, Mark, that we've just got to be really, really careful, you know, in terms of how social media is used.
Well, that's an interesting point Angela's made about reducing the carbon footprint. Do you want to? In what way? How does that work? Just interesting.
Well, you've got to think that you're not going to be going out as often. We're using social media in a way where we're having to now use Teams, and we were doing parties through it.
Yeah.
So it was still another way of connecting. It wasn't always the best way, but it's been good for the environment. So we can't always see it as a negative that we are using social media to connect. So, yeah,
No, there was, I think, a dramatic increase in air pollution during, the kind of first lockdown, because people weren't driving or, out and about in their cars, and offices weren't, leaving their lights on. All technology has carbon footprint depending upon where the energy comes from. Every time you send an email, it has a carbon footprint. So it's a kind of very tricky thing to sort of manage as an individual, knowing what best to do sometimes.
Yeah. These ethical dilemmas that we have.
Yeah.
The increase in agoraphobia, people as a result, maybe not just as a result of lockdown, people who were a bit anxious before now are feeling very anxious about rejoining, kind of social gatherings, because, that somebody's mentioned there about anxiety and people skills, and, it actually gives them a sense of a panic attack and how they're trying to deal with this, because, there's a big difference between virtual interactions and real life interactions, and and that can be tricky to navigate that kind of transition, I think.
Well, Rochelle's made an interesting point that social media can pull people away.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's another interesting point, because we have the modules, obviously, like developing healthy communities, and yet if I think about my community, I'm going to be inverted commas, I suspect most people drive home from work and they're on the internet or watching television. They're actually more connected to virtual distant communities than they are to their actual physical communities, and I think that can have negative implications, that people become insulated from the real world, and there's a lot of kids these days are having to be reacquainted with nature, for example. I was reading an article in the newspaper about children who are going out on school trips saying, what's that, miss? Is that a horse? And it's a cow, or, what's the duck? They've become so alienated or separated from the natural world because they've been watching TikTok or whatever. They don't even know what basic kind of creatures or foods are that appear on their, plates.
I think that's created a whole movement, with forest schools. I don't know if your children have gone through forest school, but I mean, mine have, and thoroughly enjoyed it, swimming in puddles and, just getting, back to nature. But yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I think, it can be used to be supportive in circumstances where you are isolated, and but on the other hand, it can cause isolation. So yeah. Have we exhausted this? Do you think? Oh, we could go on all night, couldn't we, about how it's how our health is affected?
Mark, I think this is. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm worried I'm going to get thrown out again.
Oh.
Okay, so I've seen another comment from Angela. It can also isolate many, such as the elderly. So I think that's obviously a really important point you've made there. And I think we can, I'm sure that can be for all, really, if they've not had the opportunity to really see their friends and family, particularly over social media. My uncle lives in India, and he lost his phone for about a week. And obviously with everything going on in India, it was just, you know, he said, you know, I miss my family, you know, I'm here and there's so much going on. And, you know, in normal circumstances, I would be okay. But just, you know, just given the environment and what's going on, I feel quite overwhelmed, and not having that contact with anyone has, you know, had quite an impact on him. So I think it's really important to, you know, identify that it does have quite a big impact on us. So what health messages have you come across on social media? So we've mentioned that it can be used in good ways. So what health messages have you come across on social media over the years? How have any of these messages made you or people you know change their behavior, and why? So we have awareness of disease and the organizations to help them. So for example, prostate or breast cancer. Yep, so what messages specifically? Any particular health campaigns?
I mean, if I can come in here, I mean, so using WhatsApp, you see so many videos that come in, substantiated videos, you know, about herbal remedies. You know, if you eat ginger, this will happen. Ginger's good for you, and you know, another type of herb is good for you. And you know, in fairness, they are good for you. But certain videos, you know, we just don't know if the combination of the ingredients they're saying are actually going to be good for you for health. I've seen a video where it shows acupuncture, you know, so press here and it'll help you with your diabetes, and press here and you'll never get pancreatic liver disease, and press here, and you know, those sorts of things. So acupressure, you know, Sally will know about reflexology and all of that. It has its own place, but then, you know, there are so many videos that are sent by non-professional people who are not practitioners, and it's just through their own experience, and you really don't know what to believe.
I think it's how it's marketed, isn't it? Because there's, you know, there's no doubt that, you know, acupressure, herbal remedies, you know, they all have their place, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll always extol the virtues of reflexology, you know, which is obviously comes from acupressure. But you know, it's that, and there are advertising standards agency, you know, they will and they do take people to court for making you know, unsound.
Even on WhatsApp?
Maybe not on WhatsApp, but you know, as a practitioner myself, if I put something on a website, I haven't got a website, but if I did have a website, you know, advertising myself as a practitioner, and I was claiming that I could cure cancer, or you know, you'll never get pancreatic cancer from, you know, if I you know, treat you, then obviously they're you know, non-evidence-based claims. So you know, yeah,
it does fascinate me though, you know, it does fascinate me, because there are so many you know.
Sorry, I was going to say, I'm now the chair of the British Reflexology Association, and we have had practitioners who have made claims on their website and they've been taken to court, you know, by the Advertising Standards Agency. So, you know, I don't think anyone should make claims that can't be supported with evidence. So
it is interesting, and I actually do believe that you know, herbs have got some substance in supporting health, because the students might be interested, but to know that we arrange and organize a trip to India. It's called, you know, a cultural study trip, studying health in India. And this trip happens every year. Obviously, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do it, you know, for the next 2 years. But as part of that trip, we actually go and visit a herbal place where they talk, give us a lecture and talk to us about, you know, the different herbs that are used for different ailments. You know, so I have an interest in that, but it's what you see on WhatsApp, you know.
I don't get those, Bhavna. That's interesting that you should get them and I don't. But you know,
yeah, they're usually in
nausea. You know,
yeah.
Fabulous for stopping morning sickness. I know that I've used it.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's they're usually in another language, Sally, otherwise I'd forward them to you. Yeah, so you know, it's actually an answer to the question about, you know, whether it does change behavior or not. And for some people who it might change their behavior. You know, it's like, so something I heard recently is about turmeric and salt. You know, rub that on your teeth every morning and you don't need to brush your teeth. Now, that would be, that's not accurate, is it? It's not proven. And dentists would go, why, you know, they wouldn't accept it at all. But this is what I'm trying to say. So it does change some people's behavior.
Oh, here we go. There's a few comments in the chat. The Staying Alive video teaching CPR, you know, to staying alive. Stroke advert.
Simran's got her hand up.
Sorry, say that again.
I think Simran's got a hand up. I'm not sure if that's from before Simran.
Yes, I just would like to answer the question. So I think a few weeks ago, I think there was a mental health week awareness. And I think this year's theme was nature. And I think that campaign allowed me to connect with nature and understand even little things about nature, you know, how to create a positive mood and make you feel better. And also, like, I have the habit of, you know, having, you know, if I find something really useful for myself, I do share it with my family members and people that I know. And I think by doing this with my family, my brother, it really had like positive impact on me. And also I think May is a month of, I think it's a National Walking Month. So I do go out for a walk every day for 20 minutes with my family. So it did have a like positive impact on me. So I do think, you know, using social media as a platform to, you know, tell people what to do. Like, I think we should, rather than just stating the, you know, why this is useful, giving them like actions to carry out, even if it's a really small action, that would really have an impact on them, because they will know what they have to do to get the result. Yeah, so I think social media does have a like positive impact on health if we use it in a positive way. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm just conscious, if any student is leaving, there's a question on the public chat which is not answered. And I think it was Lacey who asked the question about whether it's coursework or exams.
Yes, I was going to come back to that. Yeah,
most of it is coursework. So if you are planning to leave, then you know, make sure that your question is answered, or just ask us again. Most of it is coursework. There may be 1 or 2 exams. Like in public health, you know, for epidemiology or statistics, there might be an exam, but you are really well supported to pass that exam. So I won't worry about it.
Yeah, I'd just say we use a range of different techniques, don't we, to assess. So, you know, we use essay, reports, presentations. You know, it's not really exam based. It's not really a black or white course, is it? You know, we encourage you to discuss and debate and critique, rather than, you know, is this the correct answer? So
so in terms of their varied assignments, you know, coursework, but then in coursework we have presentations or poster presentations where you're actually working in groups, or you're presenting by yourself, or you're presenting in pairs, or we could have a report that you submit, and we support you. So most of our lectures have assignment unpacking support sessions, and all students should attend that, really. I can't understand if a student doesn't attend an assignment unpacking support session, because that's what's going to get you through the course. So yeah, in terms of exam boards, Sally, health studies?
Well, we go through the university exam boards. It's not an external organisation. What did you mean by that? I'll just read that again. I can see that you're asking, are there any textbooks? I would always say, you know, Nader and Wills is possibly a good, I'm just trying to see if I've got it here. We'll have it here on my bookshelf somewhere. But yes, Nader and Wills, shall I put that in the chat? That's a good all-round health studies, you know, introduction to health studies.
But I don't think there's like an equivalent, like for, you know, AQA or OCR for the course, you know, that has a set of curriculum materials and set answers, and you know, it's not that prescriptive in the sense that, you know, this is the ideal answer we're hoping you produce. It's much more a university as opposed to maybe, you know, school or college. We're looking for a little bit more kind of a discursive or debating kind of, you know, we're looking for what you can add rather than just kind of trying to create a model answer that, you know, we don't set when we're marking have a specifically, you know, specific template that we're going to tick your boxes, you know, and you know, because I have taught on some of those aqua type at A level, you know, and they are very rigorous and very regimented in how they approach answering essays, and no, we don't have that kind of approach.
No, I mean, we set learning, you know, you'll have learning objectives and marking criteria to address, but, you know, and, you know, it'll be marked, moderated and externally moderated. So, you know, there's a rigorous, you know, marking process that it goes through.
Okay. I think Simran's asked about exam boards. So the certificate that you would get is actually, we're a recognised university internationally. So your certificate, the BSc honours, would be classed as a degree. And so, you know, that actually would be a certified degree that is acceptable anywhere, because it's from a recognised university, and the university's got its formal status. So, and then in terms of books, I've got one example. It's called Health Promotion, and it's by Green and Tones. So this is just an example of a recommended text, you know, that like Nader and Wills. And this is used for public health and health studies modules. So on Canvas, we have our lectures on Canvas. So we have our lectures on Canvas, and on Canvas there is a module reading list, and in that reading list is all the recommended text.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair to say that because we cover such a diversity of modules that, that it, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, there isn't one mega book that covers every aspect of every module. Every module will have its module specific, you know, basic or recommended reading or a particular textbook in that module area.
Yeah,
it would be a very big book to cover all the
and the university's also got its own library, and a lot of what we've found during the pandemic is that students have actually accessed e-learning books, so e-books, which, you know, we wouldn't have done before. People would have just popped into the library, and the library is well stocked. But as well as that, you know, there are now coming out e-learning books, which are available at your fingertips. So a module reading list is available, you know, on Canvas, and it can be available on the university website as well. I don't think you can access it ahead of your course, because the problem is that you wouldn't have access to Canvas. So
they do that, as long as they enrol, they will automatically be assigned to those Canvas topics, but it does depend on the module leader as to how soon they publish their there.
Exactly. So you would have access to Canvas once the course starts. And so, you can access the module reading list then.
But there are journals that you can access, that I would say that get used to reading journals as well, because it's going to be a lot more up to date than books. But as soon as you have access to the library, then I would say, if you haven't got access to the reading list, if you've got access to the library, then just read and read more. That it as long as it's credible academic sources, then you can never read too much.
I mean, talking about social media, I do think that's perhaps one of the downsides in some ways. I'm still witnessing a lot of students who get their information from the internet or from social media kind of information, and that may be fine sometimes as a stimulation, to whet your appetite for a particular topic, or you hear about particular topics. But when you get to university, we are looking for a little bit more quality sources of evidence and reading material. And that's where I feel an over-reliance on social media can actually hamper your academic progress. So, we always try to instill in our students right from the get-go that, we like you to use journal articles, we like you to use, kind of prestigious, whether it's newspapers or government websites that are a bit more authoritative. And if you can make that transition from just relying on textbooks or relying on what you read on the internet to basing your essays or assignments on, much more quality evidence, you will get higher marks. So that's just a kind of bit of a tip.
I think that, Simran, just answering your question, I don't think you really need to buy books these days. I would, say that, many, as Bhavna said, many of the books are available online now. E-books are available. Google Scholar, that can be useful. I do find that not the easiest way to find information, to be honest. I think if you come, obviously when you start at the university, if you make use of the library workshops, they will point you in the right direction as to how to search for literature. And that's what Mark was saying. Don't just think that you come for your the hours you will come for lectures. There's also lots of workshops available that will help you with referencing, will help you with academic writing, finding literature, all sorts of other things. I think.
And I don't want to sound like I'm kind of blowing our trumpet, but I think the actual crucial hub of knowledge and information you get is from the module teams teaching, whether that's a lecture or materials. The aim of our lectures or sessions is to give you the fundamentals that you need to know. You can obviously build upon those and do more wider reading, and I'm sure your lecturers will, give you, kind of guidance for further reading. But the crucial aspect is engaging with, the course materials as we deliver them, and then asking any questions and taking it from there. But it's any amount of reading is great, but if you're not getting that kind of the basic ingredients from us, you could go off on a bit of a tangent and not address the assignment in a way maybe that we were hoping you would. But
I'll just answer this query. You've put the University of Wolverhampton as your firm, but you haven't heard anything. This is probably a good question to ask of admissions. You won't have a DBS check on the course, but if you want to, after 6 o'clock, they're available to ask any questions. So if you want to, chase up your application, then I don't know why there would be a delay. We don't get involved with the admission side of things, do we? Sometimes, I'll have students just out of the blue email me and say, I've applied, but I haven't heard anything. I don't really know what's happened. So it's best to go to admissions and find out where your application has gone. You can just go on to, you don't need to email. There'll be somebody available I think it was posted in the chat a little bit earlier. Yeah, there's a link, I think, to...
Yeah, Anissa put that link up earlier on. So I think if you just click on that link, you will automatically be transferred to that. So
yeah,
here we
are
go.
there any other questions we haven't answered? Oh, please, could we put it on again? Okay.
Something's happened. I don't know what.
Is Anissa still here with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can have a look. Just bear with me. Can you see my screen? Just bear with me one moment. Is it the sorry, was it the
just to go through to
admissions? Yeah, that's fine. I'll copy that.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of students that obviously would benefit from having a chat with someone in admissions just to see where their application's at. So a typical week, yeah.
Just put that back on the chat.
Oh, thank you, Anissa. That's brilliant.
No problem.
So
there you go. I've done that as well.
So a typical week for health studies. Currently, unless timetabling changes everything, which hopefully they won't, you'll have lectures on a Monday morning, Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning in semester 1. And it's very similar, isn't it, to public health? Yours spans Mondays and Tuesdays in year 1. So, you know, you're not in university for a long time, but don't think that that's it. You know, it's a lot of this is around your independent study. So we'll guide you as to where to go and read or do workshops, but it's down to you to go and do them. You know, think of us as like a personal trainer. We'll give you, you know, a set, you know, but you've got to go away and do it. So, you know, for the time you're in university, you've got to, you know, times that by, well, it should equate to 40 hours. A full-time course should equate to 40 hours. So you're not in class for the 40 hours, but you need to put, you know, the work in outside of class. So if that answers does that answer the question?
Yeah, and one of the questions is about foundation year. Is it 3 or 4 years?
Yeah,
and that's
that's
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you start at level 3 and work your way through up to level 6. We do have students that come in at level 6 as well. I don't know if we've got any top-up students that I think this is more for level 3 and 4, but we do have students who've done a foundation degree in college and then come to the you know, level 6 and finish off. Yeah, so 4 years for foundation, so that you'll be doing your level 3 qualification. Is there any more questions there? I think we've answered those, haven't we?
Yeah, I think if you go on to the next slide, I don't know where the prof's gone off screen. So is she there?
Oh.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
So here you will just see some examples of promotion via social media. So is there anything else that you've come across? Does anyone want to tell us a bit about Movember?
I do my best not to grow a moustache in November, you know, but I'm getting to that age where, you know, things grow where they shouldn't.
Why do we have Movember? Does anyone want to add?
Movember for testicular cancer. When men grow a moustache, that's what I remember about it.
Prabjeet, you're just on mute.
No, sorry, I'm so sorry. Yes, you're right. Yep. Any of the others? Ice bucket challenge. Do you remember the ice bucket challenge?
I do. My kids made me do it.
Yeah, for motor neuron disease.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the image below, breast cancer. Do you have any other health promotion materials that are available for breast cancer that you may have come across? Yeah, pink ribbons.
I can't help but think that some people actually probably think that they should be looking at lemons, you know, rather than breasts, you know.
No comment.
No. I'm not.
I've been watching too much Line of Duty. That's my standard.
Just looking at it again to see if they are lemons. I thought they were apples.
Oh God, they're funny looking apples, though, Hafner.
I need the other glasses.
You need to put the four sets of glasses on, I think.
Yeah, Lacey's mentioning pink ribbons, crazy hats charity,
Yeah.
pink day to raise money within schools.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard a program today about a woman who's written a novel about saving somebody's life through CPR, and it's based on a real life experience of saving a partner's life who she thought he was snoring in the night, and he was having agonal breathing apparently. His heart had stopped, and she actually remembered the CPR and kept him alive for 26 minutes until the ambulance arrived. And she's now doing these book signings and also demonstrating CPR. So
yeah,
it's amazing. All these kind of messages go into your head and you kind of vaguely remember. So, you know, whether it really sticks or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Puddly the bear. Oh, I don't know about Puddly the bear. Was it Pudsey?
Pudsey. Yeah, that's children in need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Puddly the bear sounds like something about raising awareness of bedwetting or something. I don't know.
I'm not there yet.
Yep, some really good examples, and I think it's just really important to remember the impact health promotion itself does have on us. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide.
I don't think we've got time for
I think
this
we're running out of
activity.
time.
Yeah.
If we want to answer questions, if there are any more. Well, is there anything you can do beforehand for epidemiology to get the foundations of it? I think that's one for Bhavna.
Yeah. Simran, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything beforehand around epidemiology, because the lecture, we introduce you to epidemiology as a subject gently, and you know, you are taught sort of basic epidemiology, so I wouldn't worry about it at this stage, you know, and the whole lecture, I mean, the whole course doesn't revolve around epidemiology at all. So I wouldn't worry about that, Simran. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
I think I was just going to say I'm tidying out my garage at the moment because it's a total disaster zone. It's got about 5,000 books just fallen all over the place across the floor, and I happened to come across a book called An Introduction to Public Health and Epidemiology. So there's always, kind of very basic little textbooks you can get if you're really, keen as mustard and want to, I don't want to ever put people off doing any prior reading. So, these days, get hold of a basic textbook on introduction on, because there are some specialized terms that, whether it's, prevalence, incidence, survival rate, all this kind of stuff that we've learned from COVID, really, risk ratios and stuff, so have a look on Amazon or whatever. I'm not sure whether I should be promoting Amazon as a...
I was just going to say about Professor Tony Stewart's latest book, his 50 Oh, I've got.
Yeah, you're. It's on Echo, Sally. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'm on Echo as well, actually.
We're all echoing. Yes.
We're all echoing now.
One of our colleagues has just updated this book, and that's basic statistics and epidemiology.
Yeah, you're welcome to buy my book off me. It's pretty dusty and crumpled, but if you make me an offer, I'll give you a signed copy for 50 quid. How's that?
That's bribery. Yeah, so we have got Tony Stewart, who's written a book, epidemiology and statistics, and he's one of our lecturers, Professor Tony Stewart. So, if you don't get it, and if you feel confused, if you're doing some initial reading, I wouldn't worry yourself into a frenzy, because there will be people supporting you with that subject area.
We've got any more questions? Oh, the echo's gone. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I think
in terms of physical disabilities, there are buildings that actually have lifts. So students, if we know that we've got students with disabilities, then we will request rooms that accommodate that. So hopefully that should help. Yeah. And then this is the link, isn't it? It's the link to the applicant day, so you can find out a little bit more. And if you need to, you can ask personal questions as well.
Yeah, Simran, you won't get, we don't print presentations, but everything is available on what Mark was talking about earlier, our virtual learning environment, so our VLE, which is Canvas. So everything, all our presentations, we'll put links to documentaries, there'll be links to, specific reading that we would recommend that you read. It's all there in Canvas. So, we can't print every presentation for every student. Think of the environment. So it should be available online for you. That's Mark. Yeah.
Oh, I think I had an unsent one, so I've just sent you the link for the for joining the admissions team. It's quite timely, wasn't it? Because we've got 2 minutes left. So at 6 o'clock, do join the admissions team and ask your questions. Ask questions about your applications.
Yeah, I don't think you need a printer, Alison.
How do we join, please?
Oh,
so the link is, I just put the link up on chat. So all you do is just click on that link and you'll be able to join. I don't know if you can see the chat. So there's a ribbon at the bottom of your screen. It says chat. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see all the chat, all the chatting that's happening. And on that chat, there is a link which says open day stroke applicant dash day stroke admission. So you click on that and then you're directed to the admissions team. Okay.
Thank you. Anissa, I just wanted to check, will the room automatically close at 6 o'clock?
Sorry, yes, it will. It will indeed.
Oh, well, it's 6 o'clock now, so we might just disappear. So
yeah. It will automatically.
So nice to have met you all and had a chat with you all. And we look forward to seeing you all in lectures soon.
Yeah. If I could, sorry, if I could ask all the applicants that have attended today, if you could answer our survey poll, that would be greatly appreciated, so we can get any feedback on the event today. Thank you, Simran.
But please, before you go, which link? Because I have about 3 or 4 links here. Our student support and well-being.
Absolutely, there is a few links. It's for different aspects. We've got our careers employability team, we've got chat to a student, student union, and we've got obviously admissions. I think was your query earlier. Yeah. So yours would be the admissions one, but there's 6 till 7, so you can pop in and out of the links, and they should be able to assist with any
admission.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. I'll put the link in again. Just
and the poll is in there as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to complete the survey, then the link's there with the pin underneath it.
I don't know how to do that because I've just copied the admission thing so that I could enter there. But I love to give you feedback, but I can't copy it again because I might lose the other one.
Okay, I've got an idea actually. I can help with that. You just bear with me.
Great.
There you go.
Hope we've answered all your questions, Alison.
Yeah,